So yeah, I feel good.
Okay, good. Well, what we're going to do today actually is to go back and retrace a little bit and go back to the first topic that we talked about on how to book gigs, because there was a
Yeah.
lot on there that we didn't actually get to cover. And I realized that some of these things are still applicable and coming up that may be most pertinent to go back and cover all that. So that's what we're going to do today.
Okay.
So you can listen in if you're not able to participate, and then there will be the video posting of the call too that you can always refer to.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. And what I'm gonna do is share my screen again, and I'm gonna pull up to start with the Google Calendar, because we talked about using the Google Calendar to do bookings. And
Yeah.
yeah, I didn't actually explain the best way that you could utilize that with band members too, because one of the things that I do like about the Google Calendar for booking is that you can share it with your people on in your band, and you can have everybody, have access to it and use it, assuming they all have to have a Gmail account though. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
So what is good about it? I'll pull up a sample to show you. What's good about the Google Calendar is that, let's see, I'm gonna pull up some gig tour that we booked in the past. Okay. Oops. Let me just do the screen share. So I would suggest to make the calendar for your band and to have everybody get access to that calendar. First, you'll have to go to create if you haven't done it before, and then put my band calendar, and then you can save it. You have to add it first, and then you can invite people to view that calendar. And so then they'll be able to have access to it. You can make it private or public, but if you're going to share it with people, you can invite them and then they'll be able to see it even if it's private. So when you get that calendar made, the first thing is to go through and put in those, well, look at the holidays that are coming up when you want to book, like if it's good, coming up to like the St. Patrick's Day or the Halloween parties, Cinco de Mayo, those kind of big party date gigs that you want to first highlight in the calendar, and then to try and work towards booking gigs on those dates. And then next put in the full moon dates and the dates when people are more likely to go out, like we talked about in the first call, and highlight those dates that you want to book the gigs on, and then have your band members look through and add any dates when they're not available and to block it out, and so you know who's not available on those dates. And that way, if you're going to be just working with certain people, you've got their availability. If you're the type of band that you can pull in anyone because you have backups and you have people to play all the instrumentation, that you can pull together your band even if everybody isn't available, then that's great too. So just so you know who's available and when. And
yeah,
then,
that's good.
yeah. So if they've all got access to the calendar, then they can also log in and see what's coming up and when it's booked and when they need to be available, and have them put in their times when they're unavailable as far in advance as possible. So that way you
Yeah.
book. Yeah, and we usually do bookings like 3 to 4 months out, sometimes further out. So you want to have your calendar be at least in that range. If you're going to be booking, that's in general, but say you're going to be wanting to book for 2017 festivals, which probably the season goes from like May to August, maybe end of March. So for that, I would suggest starting to book in October this coming year, and it's a longer lead time. So the festival dates also vary widely when they start accepting submissions and stop. So the the best way to do that is you can also utilize the Google Calendar. If you're starting to send out some emails this year and you get a feedback from a festival or event organizer that tells you they are not accepting the applications until November 1st. So then you go into your Google Calendar and put this note on November 1st to contact that organizer. And you'll know each day then what you have to do. So that's another good thing. Or if you've done an event like somebody's birthday party and they say they want you to come back next year, put it in your Google Calendar for the month that you're going to contact them. Like anybody to follow up or any submission dates, like put the submission date when they start accepting submissions, and you can also put in the date when they stop accepting submissions, because they might start November 1st, but then they stop by February 28th. So that way you know when there's a deadline open or closed. So I think that's helpful to keep on track for festivals and those annual events.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is where you can actually see, if you're looking at my screen where it says share this calendar. So I'm gonna, if I wanted to share that, I would just click on that link and then put the email address, the Gmail address of the person to share it with. And then you can add them as just seeing the event or making changes or also managing the sharing. So that's where you would do the sharing. And then you can make it public if it's something where you're just putting the actual gigs that have been booked that are confirmed and you want to use it for promotion. That's where you can click on here, make this calendar public, and you can put it on your website. And some bands that we've worked with, they will just put the calendar on their website and have all the band members come there to get the updates, which you could do too if you've already got their availability and confirming the dates and you're just managing the booking from your side. So you have to see what works with you and how dependent upon all your band members you are on confirming gigs, or if you can confirm them on your own and then get the people to come to fill in the slots and play. So on that side about, let's say you know now, you know which dates you want to fill in and where you want to work on booking. I'm going to show you this sample. This one we booked. We got a gig offer for one of the bands that we worked with last summer to play up at a festival in Vancouver. So we took that date, and that was on the 16th Sunday of August. And then we had to fill in some other dates. So what we did around that was look for, like, say you get that, one anchor date, and then you want to go in and fill in other dates, that you can look around that geographic area using one of the methods that we talked about last call on booking. You can look up lists of festivals also, which we didn't talk about, but there are a lot of websites that will list festivals, and you can search for festival in the area. So the area that would make geographic sense to drive through if you're booking in like a tour. And then also the way to do it, like to fill in dates by the genre. These were folk festivals. And then it's also as a Pakistani group, a world music group. So we also decided to fill in some dates. We would contact the Pakistani organizations up in Canada. And there happened to be a group in Calgary that was a Pakistani group that was celebrating the Independence Day of Pakistan. And that happens to be on the weekend when they were up there in Canada. So we contacted the president of the organization to see about booking a performance, since the artist was up there and she's pretty well known. And if this Pakistani group wanted to take advantage of having the artist in their area, because she was playing the World Music Festival, and to play at their location. So that was more of a private event. So that would be an example how you could tie in a anchor date with an organization or a group that may have a same or special interest, and outside of the traditional venues like we talked about, where you could use Indiegogo to get to the clubs and the performance venues, or go to a festival list to find other festivals, or do some type of a special interest group or organization that might want to have an event. So those are different ways where you could then build on a tour if you do get a gig offer and it's in a different geographical region and you want to make it work, how you can piece these things together. We also got in contact with a promoter who did some world music events, and in the area was interested in working with us to do a event with the artist. So once you get them, those dates, we put them on the calendar, and then you can go to the section once you have it, go to edit the event. And then it has this big box with a description. So that is where we typically put all of the event information, the details of the gig, what's been agreed upon as far as the performance time, the number of sets, the set length, the pay, the breaks, the meals or backline, accommodations, any of the info about the gig, how much the tickets are, basically just a copy and paste every detail in there on the description. And that makes it easy when you need to know about the gig, just to pull that up and look, and it's right there. So whether you're gonna have to look on your phone at some point or in your email, it's always easy to find and ready for you to access. So, and also make sure just who you're sharing it with, that you want them to see all those details, because obviously you don't want that on your Google Calendar that you're posting on your website, and depending what you share with all of your band members, you may or may not want to like edit or adjust your settings for who could see that. And then I want to show you, so I mentioned that we use salesforce.com for our database, and that's where we also would keep all the copy of the correspondence, the communication, the contacts, who we contacted and when we talked to them, and all their email, phone, and contact. And then we would keep that gig info in there. And the contracts would be in here too. And I think I changed my password. Okay. Let's see if I could log in. Sorry, people. So in the meantime, I did forget my password. Hold on a minute here. Let me do something in the meantime. So you do want to make sure that you have a template for a contract too for booking. A lot of times venues will just send a email with the gig information, and that's especially common if you're booking at like clubs or, you know, bars or restaurants or places that have live music often that are a little more informal. So in that case, like the email is fine. If you do have a contract though, it never hurts to send that. And to have a template contract is really good because it makes everything quick and easy, where you just have to fill in the details and you already have that formatted. So we will, on an upcoming call, have a guest speaker who's also a entertainment attorney and talk about contracts and other things related to legalities. So this is just the side of pointing out that you do want to have agreements in place, and you know, setting up a template contract is not a bad idea. And so the information for that contract would be included in your Google Calendar and in your database, whatever you're using as your database. Like I said, we use salesforce.com. And I'm just resetting my password. Sorry about that. So now I'll log back in. I'm in and I'll show you. This is inside Salesforce. So let's look just at venues. Actually, I have right here Mexico venues because we're working on booking some dates in Mexico. And this would be an example where you see we don't have a lot of Mexico venues. There's probably about a dozen. But when we are filling in something and we get more, we'll go in and add it. And then that's going to help us when we need to fill in dates again in Mexico. So here's like, I'll show you an opportunity for us in Salesforce. Opportunities that we won are gigs that got booked. So here's one I'll show you. This one's coming up this week. This band is playing at the People in Plazas. And all of the information is in here. And then basically everything that's in the contract would go in here, and we can also add it as a document. And so you just want to basically make sure that you copy and paste somewhere. You have it written, if they're sending it to you in an email or on a formal document, that you keep a record of that. So whether you use your own database or you just put it in your, maybe you have some, like a Google Drive with documents, somewhere where you're going to be able to access it. And then a nice way to do contracts too, what I think is really good these days is the online, like Adobe Echo Sign. That one is a good way to get contracts signed quickly. It's just this, you can create a free account here, and basically you can send your documents to people. have all the signature fields highlighted that you need them, if they just need to sign and date, or if they need to do other updates on the contract, you can indicate it, and then it goes out to the person, comes back to you, and then you have it signed and stored electronically, and then you can log in, and all of your contracts will be there in EchoSign. So there's other ones too, but this just happens to be the one that we ended up utilizing, and so everything is pretty much in there, which makes it nice and convenient because you've always got a record. And a lot of times people can't, especially musicians, cannot like print and then sign and then scan or fax back things. So this makes it so easy because you can just do it like on your phone, you know, at midnight after you get done with a gig or when you're on the go. You don't have to bother with all of that, and it's free. So I highly recommend it. And then that's kind of like your database for your contracts. So you don't need to worry about keeping them or having a hard copy somewhere that you're never going to be able to find when you need. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, and I get a hello.
Yes, hello, no doubt.
Yep. So that's the important part I wanted to mention about contracts. And then another thing before actually and after and during the contract is in the email communication, the importance of confirming a gig. And I think really a simple, maybe overlooked way to do that is in the subject line. If I'm not oversimplifying anything, but I think it's also something that's overlooked is the art of writing a professional and relevant subject line on emails, especially when communicating with the bands and venues. So something as simple as changing the subject line from your prospecting subject line, which we will back up and look at again, to capital letters and confirming, you know, having the word confirming, and then the band name, the venue, and the date. And always, when you're confirming, include the day of the week along with the month and the number date. Because it has happened that miscommunication comes up, especially during Mercury retrograde. So remember we talked about that. But it can happen anytime. It's just more likely during that time frame. So that it could have been, say this gig here, it says confirming South Bay Dub All Stars at Legacy Brewing Company, Sunday, August 7th. It could happen that somehow I just put August 7th, or maybe I got the date mixed up and I put August 6th. And somebody didn't notice that August 6th was a Saturday and the gig is really on a Sunday. Or maybe I just put August 7th and the venue really meant August 6th because they were thinking it was a Saturday, but it's actually a Sunday. So you see there's 1,000 things that could go wrong. So if I have both the day of the week and the number day, it eliminates some of the likelihood that this is the wrong date that we're confirming. And also having the band name and the venue name and the subject line too helps everybody to like double check again, you know. And so it's really important to make sure that you confirm you have it in writing, you have it as a backup in your email and or in your database, and then go ahead and do the contract too. And once it's confirmed, to put it on your booking calendar so you know that that date's been booked and you're not going to double book it. Usually when we're doing the booking on these calendars, we will put the question mark next to it if it's not confirmed. And when it is confirmed, then we don't have the question mark. And so sometimes if you put in a placeholder, you want to be clear to know that that date, if it's not confirmed, that it's, you know, still open. And then really put it back in and confirm it once you get the confirmation from the venue, confirmation from all the band members, and get the contract signed. And you do want to confirm with all the band members before confirming with the venue, unless you know that you're going to be able to get people to play the gig no matter what, or like your one-man show or one-woman show. So because it doesn't look good to have to go back to the venue after they've offered the date and you've confirmed it, and then to say that you can't do it for some reason. And also another important part, which would be covered in your correspondence and in the contract, and sometimes may even be available on the venue website, is to know what they have available for sound and support as far as backline or any type of logistical needs that you have, you know, stage and lights, anything like that. So we do have an upcoming call that's going to cover the importance of a professional stage plot and why you need that and how to get one and how to put it together, what to include, and also on technical writers, what to have in there and why you need that. So those come up when you're going to be sending the contract to and from the venue. At that time, they're also going to want these items from you, and they'll also want your press photos, your publicity pictures, logo, and your description, whatever they need to get the word out or what they're providing for publicity on your event. You'll have to send after you get the contract signed. So I want to go back to the Salesforce again and show you we're gonna just back up to the prospecting since we're talking about subject lines. When you know who you want to send your booking availability to, I'll show you this one. You want to have a professional template. This is an example. This is a little two-person performance that we work with, booking in the San Francisco area and in the Sacramento area. So we have a picture, we have some links to their music, and it's got their bio. This one is kind of a small, simple template. I'll show you another one. This band, this is a Rebel Punk, also from the Fresno area. We have the link here to their Reverb Nation, some pictures from their performance at the state fair, their logo. Here's their band website link, some photos, a little bio, a link to YouTube, and then all the booking contact information. So these emails are what we would send out, and we suggest that you send out something professional with all those elements. And then the subject line is really important. And you might need to change the subject line from time to time. I mean, you definitely will. You want to make sure it's relevant, that it's going to catch the booking person's attention. Here's one that we do. This group is from Italy. And then we tell that they're from Italy and they're booking in the US in 2016 and 2017. Has a little introduction about the band, some photos, their bios, links to their website and their online profile, performances, video. So it's important to include, basically, it's like your online press kit, what we talked about in one of the previous calls, that we put into a nice, appealing HTML, visually appealing formatted email. And then we actually can mass email or individually send these out. And there's a record of who it's sent to, when it was sent, and how many times they looked at it. So when you're first starting out, you can have your subject line in this general time frame. Say maybe if we're sending it out now, we want to say, this group is available in October and November. These are the dates they're looking for. Please contact us for booking. And then once we get some gigs booked and we just have a couple dates to fill in, then we'll go back and we'll update the subject line. And, we'll put that we have these dates now available. And we're looking to fill in, like on this email, reggae vibes with dub all-stars at venue name August 5th or 6th. This is when they're coming up down to Southern California actually next month, and we were filling in these dates. So we just made a new email and then told them, the 2 dates we have available, 5th or 6th of August, to support this tour. And then we hit the target venues that would make sense from our map and the calendar, which we wanted to fill in on, send the subject line and saying that we're looking for those dates. And then you can see they still get to check out the band, the pictures, the social media links, and listen to the songs. So that's a good way to then narrow it down and fill in the dates when there's only 1 or 2 dates left to fill, like on a tour. And also, of course, you need to follow up and phone call and Facebook message, and then email again, and then we'll send the email again, and then call, and then Facebook message, and then Facebook message, and then email again, and then call, and then maybe change the email subject line to say, confirming. Is this confirmed? And then sometimes I'll freak out. What? That's not confirmed. And so finally they write back because they're telling you it's not confirmed. So then you can get in a correspondence and have a dialogue. So it takes a concerted continued effort to get those dates filled in. But these are some of the insider tips of things that have worked for us and from my experience. Yeah, these are all the templates that we have for bands and groups. So it does take a lot of work to prepare your format, make it look nice. I think it really has to be attention grabbing and visually appealing, and then the content, that they're going to hear and see performance wise has to be appropriate for their venue and timely for the band, and good match. And then if that's all set, the performance is quality for the venue, then you need to just continually follow up. So I didn't mention, the important thing to do is to look on the venue website and make sure that the day you're looking for is open. Like when we were booking this performance, This was for March 19th, like a year or two ago. And so there was a specific date that we were filling in on their tour. This performer was actually coming all the way from Iran and was performing with this other artist in Northern California and Oregon. So we had just a couple specific dates to book for them. And so we had to check on the calendars of the venues and make sure the dates were open. And so if they're not available, it's pretty easy because you could see it's booked. But sometimes just because the venue calendar shows it's open, it doesn't actually mean it's open. So that could happen sometimes too. But at least you have a good chance that it's open if it's not showing somebody else already booked on that day. So I've done a lot of talking. Does anybody have any questions or comments or feedback you want to share?
That's all very helpful. And for this session, I'm probably going to have to go back and listen to the recording again, because yes, there was a lot of information.
Good. Well, I feel like it filled in some of the areas that we didn't hit on the last call about booking. We could probably talk even more about it, but it gives you the structure and the skeleton of what's involved with it. So
Definitely. Very helpful.
well, thank you. And the replay will be available. Are there any other things at the moment?
Not for me.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for paying attention, everybody that's here, and I appreciate your involvement and look forward to talk with you next week.
I feel the same way. Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Ciao.
Have a great week.
Okay, happy booking. Thank you.